Good afternoon. Welcome to Smith Falls Council Committee of the Whole meeting. I am Jay Brennan, Councillor, and I'll begin with our land acknowledgement. On Monday, May 25th, 2026, we acknowledge that the sacred land on which Smith Falls is now located has been the site of human activity for over 10,000 years and is rich in Indigenous history. This land is the ancestral and unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. We are grateful to the Algonquin ancestors who cared for the land and water in order that we might meet here today. We are also grateful to the Algonquin people for their contribution in the making of the Rideau Canal, which runs through Smith Falls. We are mindful of broken covenants and the need to reconcile with all our relations. Together, may we care for this land and each other, drawing on the strength of our mutual history of nation building through peace and friendship and being mindful of generations to come. So I'll call the meeting to order at 5:02, and I have a recommended motion that the May 25th Committee of the Whole meeting agenda be approved as circulated, moved by Councillor McKenna, seconded by Councillor Robinson. All in favor? Any disclosure of pecuniary interest and or conflict of interest in general nature thereof? Seeing none, and we have a motion for minutes. The motion reads that the minutes of the May 4th, 2026 and May 11th, 2026 Committee of the Whole meetings be approved as circulated. Moved by Councillor Miller, seconded by Councillor Quinn. All in favor? We have no delegations, and I understand we have a couple of CO or directors' verbal reports. Over to you, CO Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have 3 verbal reports this evening, starting with Mr. Grimke.
Good evening. One very quick update from Development Services this evening. Just getting a heads up of the open house that's being held tomorrow by hosted by the Climate Protection Working Group, sharing the draft climate action plan at the Memorial Center upstairs. The evening is going to start with an electric vehicle demonstration at 4:30 at the front parking lot, and then the open house will be in drop-in format for from 5 to 6:30. There will be refreshments served. There will also be, as a special treat, there will also be 50 trees, red maple seedlings, kindly donated by Digging It Nursery. Those will be available for first come, first served tomorrow afternoon. And there will be there's also a survey online, and the plan will be open for public engagement and comment until through to the end of June. So following that, staff in the climate group will be working on incorporating the feedback that we've received. So that's my update, and I'm hopeful that many of us will be able to make it tomorrow.
Thank you, Director. Any questions? Councillor McKenna?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to add to your comments about the event tomorrow night, the public meeting, I think there's at least three local, and they're all local automobile dealers that are bringing their electronic vehicles to the arena. And if you're curious or want to ask questions, it's a really good time, and we really appreciate the local businesses bringing those new vehicles out for the public to talk and learn more about them. So I think it's a great addition to the public meeting that'll follow right after.
Yes, thank you. And I'd certainly like to acknowledge Kia, Ford, and Chevrolet, the local dealerships, for joining us for that.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Director. And next?
Next report is from Director Clark.
Good evening, everyone. I'm bringing this director's report on behalf of the Accessibility Advisory Committee at their request, and they helped me wordsmith what I will be reading tonight. Through recent correspondence with a member of the Accessibility Advisory Committee, a concern was raised regarding the use of derogatory language within our community and the broader impact that language can have on inclusion and accessibility. That concern speaks to something larger than any one interaction. It highlights a simple but important truth. Language is not neutral. The words we choose across our programs, services, facilities, and everyday interactions have the power to either create a sense of belonging or create barriers to participation. And often, while these impacts are not intentional, they are real and they are felt. This is very much within the mandate of the Accessibility Advisory Committee. Accessibility is not only about physical design or meeting our myriad legislative standards. It is also about the experience people have when they engage with our spaces, our services, and ourselves, and whether they feel respected, included, and able to participate fully. In that context, this conversation reflects the kind of issues the committee is intended to bring forward. It is about ensuring that our approach to accessibility is not only compliant, but meaningful. Recognizing this, the committee have approached this as an opportunity to lead, an opportunity to encourage reflection on behalf of ourselves as a municipality and also amongst our residents within the broader community on whether the environments we engage in and are responsible for consistently reflect the values we have committed to as a community. At our most recent meeting on May 12th, the Accessibility Advisory Committee considered this matter and passed a motion regarding recommending that it be brought forward to Council. That motion signals that the committee views this as an issue of broader importance, one that warrants attention at the governance level. In response to that direction, I'm obviously standing here before you, bringing this forward to Council today, intentionally aligned with the National Accessibility Week, which is May 31st to June 6th of this year. And reviews the identify. Oh God, lost my place. This is why I never read things. That motion signals the committee views this as an issue of broader importance, one that warrants attention at the government level. The timing matters. It allows us to situate this conversation within a broader community focus on accessibility, inclusion, and our shared responsibility in advancing both. At its core, this is about recognizing inclusive language as a foundational element of accessibility. This is not about preference or semantics. It is about access. The way we communicate with each other can either open doors for people or slam them shut. What I'm asking us to consider this evening is how we, as a municipality, set the tone, not just through policy, but through practice, through the language used in our programs, in our facilities, and in our everyday interactions with the public. This is not about being overly prescriptive, nor is it about policing language. It is about leadership. It is about being intentional in how we create environments where people feel respected, included, and able to participate fully. Because for many people, language is the first point of contact with our organization. Before a program is experienced or a service is delivered, there is an interaction, written or spoken, that signals whether someone belongs. That moment matters more than we often recognize. So we see this as an opportunity to strengthen awareness, to set clear and consistent expectations, and to ensure that the way we communicate reflects the inclusive community we are working to build. By approaching this in a thoughtful and structured way, we can move forward beyond reacting to individual concerns and instead reinforce a standard, one that is visible, practical, and lasting across the organization. And that is all I have to say about that on behalf of the Accessibility Advisory Committee.
Thank you for that. Any comments, questions? Yeah, Councillor Miller.
Thank you, and I think it's very wise words. And I guess I'm wondering, what now? Where would you like us to start?
That's a great question. I can take that back to the advisory committee, and then we can have a further conversation. We got to this point, and so I think it's a good ongoing discussion, and we can have some further fodder for that conversation, and they can maybe give us some direction.
That would be great.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you for that important message. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
And Mr. Chair, our third and final verbal report will come from our Manager of Economic Development and Tourism.
Good evening. Just following up on your request last time for an update on the LaSalle Causeway situation. So there's not much new I have to report. I'll be briefed on the whole file. The Rideau mayors have formed a coalition to collectively advocate for a permanent solution to the LaSalle Causeway closure, or should I say the lack of the lift that allows larger boat traffic to come up and down the canal. And I believe you're advocating directly to the minister as well as the Public Service, PSPC, Public Service, I'm going to get this, don't tell me, public, the acronyms here.
Public Works
Procurement.
Procurement.
Yes, okay, got it. The letter was sent in 2025, which I've read.
Can you speak up just?
Oh, sure. Yes, a letter was sent in 2025. I don't believe any correspondence has gone forward since, but I will note that there was a shout out to our efforts by our CAO and mayor from Parks Canada specifically that I'd heard earlier this week, that they're really leading the effort on behalf of the Rideau mayors, and it's really been a seminal development. The push is really largely generated by Smith Falls, and so the work that's been done previously has been excellent, but no new news to report unless either the mayor or the CEO have something updated for us. Okay, I'll keep you posted. Yeah.
CEO Morris.
Yeah, the one thing I would add is that MP Michael Barrett from Leeds Granville had initiated a petition, and it went to the House of Commons. So he's collecting signatures again for a permanent solution to the causeway. MPP Clark had initiated a similar petition. So there's work both provincially and federally underway at the political level to try and push for a permanent long-term solution. So we're very much plugged into those discussions, and we'll keep council informed as they progress.
What I could add from my perspective is we've discussed this, the idea of doing a bit of an economic impact analysis on what that closure represents for business investment and business spending by boaters up and down the canal. So I'd like to do some work on that with my colleagues, Ann Weir from Leeds and Grenville and other communities affected along the route. I think that'll be helpful to add to our case, the dollar value to the effect of it.
Thank you. I would assume that those two petitions that were mentioned, anybody could sign.
Correct.
Yeah, so I would direct people to the appropriate website and access them and sign them. Thank you. One more?
That's it.
That's it. Okay. We have no committee of the whole consent reports. Our priority issues is 9.1. Small Business Advisory Center, project agreement renewal, and you didn't have to sit down, Ingrid.
That's me next. And I didn't bring my paper copy with me, so luckily I'm reading it off.
Oh, Councilor McGuire?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I just got to declare a pecuniary interest on the LaSalle Causeway update.
Okay, so noted.
Ready? I'm doing the Small Business Advisory Center first.
Yes.
You can, yeah.
Go ahead. Yep. Okay. So the purpose of this report is to execute a contribution agreement with the Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade for a new 3-year period with the option to extend for a 4th year for the operation of the Small Business Advisory Center, which is located in our Economic Development office space. The background provided in the report, it's a service that's been provided to the business community of the town of Smith Falls and Lanark County since 1988. And they've been with us in economic development for 3 years, providing entrepreneurs with a full range of confidential business support services needed to start and successfully grow their small business. They're located across the province, and they provide one-stop advisory services to businesses, and has been a huge benefit and incentive for our business community to rely on that support. So it's operated by Cindy James. She's been in the role for 25 years as of the end of this year. So that's pretty exciting. We'll have to have a special recognition of that. The only changes under the program renewal are the addition of succession planning business services beginning this year through Succession Ontario. And a change to the service area to include only Lanark County, the town of Smith Falls. Previously, we included some of the townships in the northern part of Leeds and Grenville, but that's been all brought under the umbrella of Economic Development Services through Leeds and Grenville County. And we'll now be limiting our involvement and role to Lanark County and Smith Falls with no impact to the bottom line for funding. And the other change is working with multiple small business centers across the province in partnership with the Foodpreneur Advantage program, which is food business training, a 6-part series offered 4 times a year, and that'll be added to the addition of the usual lineup of resources. So there's 2 options for your consideration. One is that you authorize the clerk and mayor to enter into a new project agreement with the Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade. Option 2 is that you not authorize the execution of the project agreement. So I await your decision.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Councilor McKenna?
Thank you. Just to speak in favor of the recommendation from staff, this is a long-standing program, and I'm pleased to see the 3-year and perhaps 4-year agreement. So I would really encourage the council to support this as well.
Thumbs up, everybody? Mm-hmm. Yep, this is a boon for us and doesn't cost the town anything. CO Morris?
I think it's worth just emphasizing the change in the boundary. For a long time, we serviced North Leeds, so that was Merrickville-Wolford, the Kittley ward of Elizabethtown-Kittley, Rideau Lakes, and Westport. Not sure the genesis of the boundary. I think it aligned with the Community Futures boundaries in the area. But So it was Leeds and Grenville, the mayors wanted to pursue this, not that they were dissatisfied with the service. They just wanted to make their boundary consistent with the economic development boundary of the counties. So it's not something we sought out, but in the end, we agreed that it probably in the fullness of time makes sense to do that. Our one and only criteria is that our funding was not reduced. The ministry agreed to that, so we're not seeing a reduction in funding because of the boundary. But it is important for those communities to understand that small business advisory services will be delivered from the United Counties of Leeds and Grenville. I'm not sure of the effective date. I expect it would be immediately.
April 1st of this year.
Great. Thank you. And that will be, we need a motion and next council meeting. Oh, Councilor McKenna.
I just realized that during the 3 years, we don't normally get an update, maybe annually. It would be interesting to know how it's going, maybe once a year. I would appreciate that feedback.
I've asked Cindy to actually bring a report to us at the end of this year, given that it's her 25th year in business, and I'd like to celebrate her dedication to this role and also have some stats to show how many businesses she has helped, how many small businesses are still in business because of her support. And it's a really, really critical part of our business landscape, of our
Thank you.
economic landscape. So we'll bring an update for you.
Thank you. And next council meeting, it will be
Correct.
a motion.
June 1st.
June 1st. Okay. Thanks, Ingrid. And our next priority item is the water treatment plant high lift pump repair with Andrew McNaughton.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Through the chair, I'm here to seek your approval to sole source work associated with required repairs to high lift pump 181 at the water treatment plant and to approve an out of budget expenditure to complete these repairs. The company that we are looking to facilitate the repairs is Hewitt's out of Brockville. They've done the last 4 high lift pump repairs, rebuilds as part of a capital project that we've done in years past. Hewitt's maintains spare parts for us as well, which is helping to reduce the cost of the mechanical seals required for the repair. So I'm happy to answer any questions if you have.
Thank you, Andrew. Questions, comments? We got thumbs up all around.
Okay,
Great
thank you very
report.
much. I appreciate your continued support, guys.
Yep.
And
And
girls.
that'll come forward on June 1st as well.
Correct.
Okay, Ingrid, Smith Falls destination plan, like a yo-yo.
Okay, this is the big one I'm most excited about. So the recommendation is that council, the Corporation of the Town of Smith Falls, receive for the information the Smith Falls destination plan. So tourism is a connection. It's about how people experience a place, how they move through it, how they interact with local businesses, how they feel when they're there. And it's supported by infrastructure, and marketing amplifies it, but neither really replace it. So every community has trails and places to eat, and not all create a sense of belonging, and tourism is about those experiences that connect people to place. So coming in with fresh eyes after working here over 7 years ago, I can see a lot of amazing growth and development in their tourism landscape. I'm seeing the growth and sophistication of our business community, the collaboration that goes into hosting myriad events that offer something to everyone and bring so many visitors to our community. I'm seeing the cycling and pedestrian friendly downtown, that's new. The outstanding heritage features that enhance a sense of place that continue to be shared. And the animation of our waterfront with the presence of La Boat and other features that highlight the canal, like our brand new bridge. And the transformation even of the Railway Museum to offer B&B experiences and the opportunity to really connect our heritage railroad and heritage rail systems to that Rails and Trails experience for cyclers and those connections with the Trans-Canada Trail coming through our downtown. Oh, you're ahead of me. That's okay. So our community is where we live, work, and play. And economic development really bridges those different aspects. If you go back a slide, the live, work, play one. See what I did there? Economic development bridges those experiences. So it kind of encompasses the growth of a residential tax base, the thriving business community and the industrial sector with our jobs for residents, and the public infrastructure like parks, trails, and facilities support not only quality of life for our residents, but help drive visitation to our community. Okay. So the destination plan was well underway by the time I arrived, and I was excited to see that it's strategic, evidence-based, identifies our audiences and our opportunities, and does a really good job of assessing our strengths and our weaknesses. Jeff has done outstanding work along with Han Consultants, and he'll share some of the highlights of the assessment process further on in our presentation. But what I wanted to bring to you that has helped us pivot it somewhat, the strategy, is my experience in a thriving resort community in BC. So visitation is a key pillar of economic development, and I think we tend to overlook that or miss that. After meeting with the consultants and during my absence, Jeff worked with them to pivot the tourism strategy to a marketing plan that places visitation at its heart. We have to better understand, and I've talked about this with you previously, and bring our key partners along with us, that every visitor coming through the doors of the Welcome Center, every visitor engaging us online, reading an article online, attending a hockey game, participating in Paddle Fest is a potential future resident, investor, worker, business owner, retiree, etc. Next. So key to implementing this plan will be partnering with our other town departments, our key business service partners, organizations delivering events, hosting art shows, delivering programming, anyone in the business of attracting, entertaining, and delivering services to visitors in the community. So I want to highlight some of these key partners here and share how they have a role in creating and supporting and implementing the destination plan. So the DBA, outstanding job of hosting a huge lineup of events. We really punch above our weight with the number of events we have. Brings thousands of people to the downtown core, and they help to transform our downtown spaces with their beautification program. I've had the chance to meet with the board a few weeks ago, and I shared a high-level overview of this destination plan, and I've had some follow-up conversations with some of them, and right now they're really busy with getting ready for the bike night coming up next week, but we'll be gathering more of their input into the final destination plan to ensure that we reflect their goals and help position them to welcome visitors and support local businesses. Here's an example of something the DBA has been doing, and a shout out to Councillor Miller, who sent this to me when I was out west after I'd started initially here. And this is an example of how we work closely with them. So Councillor Miller forwarded this Facebook post to me in BC. It was written and submitted by our tourism coordinator, Jeff Murphy, on behalf of the DBA, and the DBA was selected for this promotional campaign called Love Letters. So excellent, excellent coverage. And that's how, working together with marketing and amplifying that message and creating that, again, sense of belonging has been really instrumental. And next up is Chamber of Commerce. They're our strongest economic development partner. They lead visitor contact through the Visitor Center in Victoria Park and advocate for the business community. They fill up the storefronts with bright images. They share our space to help provide business information to potential investors. And I have introduced the destination plan at a high level to their advisory committee for economic development. And it was well received by members. And we are going to be working on some potential tourism products that we would develop with them, such as an ambassador program for frontline workers and getting their input into a wayfinding strategy. So these are other examples of products. Small Business Advisory Center. They do more than any other partner to support the creation of new businesses and equip them with the skills and training to thrive. They bring new visitors to town, support investment, and help showcase features such as our heritage feel in Davidson's Courtyard. City departments, public works, creating the amenities that add to placemaking, that provide a backdrop to key events and activities that animate our waterfront. And this kind of public infrastructure is going to put us on the map and help to increase visitation and resident attraction. Community Services is a key partner in implementing the destination plan, not only through hosting our largest, most successful events, but by the high quality of life that their amenities provide and the wide range of sport and recreation activities they support, all of which help to drive residential attraction. And quoting Stephanie here, so operationally they see and guide, especially this summer, the first interactions visitors often have with the town, whether it's at a park, on a trail, at a community event. And it'll really be important to align the destination plan with them to ensure the experience on the ground evolves alongside the strategy, and that we carefully manage our capacity to support that growth. Development services, enhancing the sense of place. through the designation of the Heritage Conservation District and allocating resources through the CIP program to maintain our heritage look and feel that drives visitation and resident attraction and creates that sense of place. Heritage House Museum and other cultural spaces like the Railway Museum, the Station Theatre, lock stations, galleries, historical walking tours, all of these contribute to placemaking, to shape how we experience the town, showcases our heritage, visual arts, live music, performing arts. They host events and programming. They create and promote some of our really unique tourism products. And all are part of that creative economy that we'll try and capture through an updated cultural plan and capture in our economic development strategy. So our partners create these amazing cultural products that benefit community members, but also drive visitation and residential attraction. Communications. So having a communications staff on board is also a new feature of coming back to work with the town. I'm really excited about that. As we develop the messaging and the brand guidelines for the destination plan, their expertise will be really instrumental to our success. Every department is responsible for their own marketing campaigns, but I think consistency of our messaging and use of the brand will amplify our efforts, and the data capture will help us ensure that we gather the evidence to tell us what works. So economic impacts, we want to make sure that our destination plan captures that evidence, captures that data. And Jeff will talk more about the tourism dashboard and our measurable KPIs. Those are key performance indicators, and how the landscape has changed with regards to SEO and GEO strategies. But we want to really demonstrate that the significant return on investment that there is with tourism, and we want to measure that and build it into our economic development approach. Models like the TREAM model allows you to look at a specific event, figure out who's there, where they've come from, and attach a multiplier figure to it that tells us, for instance, every dollar we spend returns $3.5 to the community in spending in our local businesses, for instance. Don't quote me on that exact one, but that's the model that we are looking at. So with that, I'm going to allow Jeff to say a little bit about the plan that he's worked hard on creating, and that he and the consultant have realigned with the idea of visitation, driving economic development. And this is all him.
Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you. The 2026 destination plan will lay out a 3-year marketing strategy combined with a well-defined analytic approach to give us the tools to analyze dollars spent and show return on investment. This also came with a SEO and GEO manual to help us update our website offerings and improve our searchability online. As well as a dashboard reporting tool that is going to pull kind of all of this information into one place and give us something that anyone can look at in 10 minutes and get a sense of where we're at, what's working and what isn't. So the most important difference between a standard destination marketing strategy and what we've worked on with the consultants is that our strategy has a 2-tiered audience framework. I'll talk a little bit about that later. Basically, this gets to the heart of what Ingrid had mentioned, our vision that we're not just targeting tourists, we're targeting visitors. So not just people coming here just for entertainment or a good time, but everyone that comes into Smiths Falls for whatever reason, whether it's grocery shopping or using a service or anything like that. Basically, the goal here is that we're going to, take visitors, turn them into return visitors, and then turn those return visitors into future residents, future business owners, future investors, etc. So basically, it's broken down into 3 years. Year 1 is about building a foundation. So it's kind of about righting the ship, getting all of our narratives in place, getting our KPIs running, collecting the data, getting everything prepared. Year 2 will be about building momentum, growing our reach, improving our conversion rates, and something I'm very excited about is launching our bilingual marketing approach and trying to appeal to the Quebec market, which is something that will separate us from other local communities. And then in year 3 is about maturing and scaling the plan, so turning that momentum into measurable place growth. And then, so basically at the end of year 3, our KPIs should be set up and running in a place where we're generating very quality reports month to month for council showing exactly where our dollar spends are going and the effectiveness of those spends. Moving on. Where we are currently. So this is kind of the results of the audit that we had them perform. In terms of social media accounts, they were all performing really well. In 2025, we were able to generate over 2 million impressions. Our posts going out had an average reach of 6.3 thousand. So that's reaching 6.3 unique individuals or accounts with every post. That was up 19% over 2024. So that was all running well. Our paid media, so our ad buys and our boosting on social media was also very competitive and sort of in line with industry standard, if not a little bit better. Then the consultants wanted to note that we have strengths in a highly engaged local community. We have real assets in terms of the canal, recreation, opportunities, events, culture, etc. So basically, they felt we were overall in a decent position. However, some of the issues that came out of this, visits to the tourism page on the website are lagging. The consultants felt that it is kind of obscured by all of the corporate infrastructure of the website and the corporate messaging. They're advising us to look at a microsite in the future, which is something that we will talk about going forward through 27, 28. Also, our newsletter, while it performs really well, basically 3 times higher than industry averages in terms of people opening it and then clicking through on things. That's great, but they felt that it was too locally focused. It was too community oriented. So they're pushing us to build from that foundation and target tourists and visitors from outside of the community. And then finally, and this is one that I was very keen on discussing with them, we were really lacking in real world data collection and analysis. So it's one thing to say that we're doing well on Facebook and I can show that the line is going up every month. That's great. But in terms of tracking, are people seeing this and then walking into a business in Smiths Falls next week? We weren't really able to track that. So we're looking to find solutions for that. So next, where we're going. So the goal is that by the end of year 3, Smiths Falls will be known as a vibrant event forward and recreation first destination. It'll be recognized as a welcoming destination that draws visitors from Ottawa, Kingston, Western Quebec, and the GTA. And that we are a community where tourists become return visitors become residents, partners, and investors. So that's kind of where we want to be at. On the next slide, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the meat and potatoes of the strategy. So this is about our strategic positioning. So the consultants took a look at our neighbors, our competing markets, if you will. And they felt that Smiths Falls should own a younger, more open and progressive identity than our regional competitors. You can see a breakdown left of some things that they identified. Perth as being kind of a heritage tourism leader. Marrickville has the artisan, charming kind of village unlock. Carleton Place, like us, is pursuing a kind of strategy of event-focused growth. But where they saw a gap that we could fill is that we are vibrant, inclusive. We can be recreational first. We can celebrate our heritage transportation-rooted brand. So your canal, railway, industry, all of that. And that we're an opportunity-rich environment. We're a growing community. There's a lot of interest in Smiths Falls. And they felt that this is the gap that we should be positioning ourselves in. Next. So this is just a little bit of an outline of some of the visitor and customer journeys that they see for us. So these would be kind of groups that we would look at targeting through this plan. So for Ottawa, we're looking at active couples, Western Quebec, bilingual families and couples, GTA, younger experience seekers, Kingston, people looking for cultural-based day trips, and then our own local community as well. So this is just being mindful that we're inclusive of our local residents and that we are, doing things that enable them to take pride and celebrate our own town. On the right side of this is basically what we call it's a marketing funnel. So this is kind of the steps that we take to get to those conversions. So At the top, you have discovering us. So whether that's through social media, through ads, through word of mouth, this is how you first hear about Smiths Falls. From there, we want to take them to consideration. So, whether that's looking up Smiths Falls online, whether that's visiting our website, maybe it's signing up for our newsletter. All of those would be steps that show that you're considering us as a destination. And then to the planning stage. So getting them to take a look at our visitor guide or download an itinerary. Maybe it's booking rooms for their stay. And then, of course, the visit. And then after that, hopefully they've had a great time. We want to be messaging them again about planning their next visit, becoming return visitors, and then, taking them through steps of maybe browsing our housing market, looking at commercial rents or, opportunities investment-wise available in the community. And then finally, on my last slide, is just a little bit about the two-tiered audience that I was talking about. So if you look at the tier 1 audience at the top, so this is basically where a traditional plan would stop, right? So convincing them to consider us, to come for a visit, have a good time. That's kind of where it would end. Our marketing strategy hopes to build on that tier 1 audience and convert them into a tier 2 audience where not only are they coming back to the community again and maybe again, but it leads to them considering something more, to maybe look at moving here, look at our schools, consider the community. So that's all I have, and I'll turn it back over to you.
But don't leave, because if you ask questions, you actually are the one who knows the answers. So next steps are to, we've done some work with our partners. We've shared key elements and insights, and the final draft with senior leadership, with town staff that are engaged in visitation and events with our business service partners. And we've talked about it, the Chamber of Commerce, the DBA, the Railway Museum staff. So we want to have further discussion with them just to make sure that our alignment of the destination plan matches their interest strategically. We want to improve collaboration with how we deliver events and how we work on developing new programming, identifying gaps in programming, and then making sure that we have a shared vision for how tourism and visitation are really a key pillar of our economic development strategy going forward. So we'll be working on some analytics, we'll be working on communication, on branding and a consistent message, identified products that fill that gap. We've talked about wayfinding, we've talked about ambassador training program, and then roll this into or align this with our economic development strategy, which we'll bring back to you, which will take elements of the prior documents you've looked at, the BR&E strategy and the investment attraction strategy, and make sure that we include tourism as a key pillar of that. So we want to make sure we get this one right, though, because this is really, really built on the input and output of our key partners.
Thanks, guys. Great presentation. Questions? Jennifer Miller. Councillor Miller.
Thank you. Thank you, Manager Braun. Thank you, Jeff, for all your work, and a shout out to Han Consulting for this. I think this is a good operational plan, a good technical review. That was really impressive, and I think tracking our results is wise and probably overdue. So thanks for all of that. I know you're sharing this just for our information, but if you're open to a couple pieces of feedback, I would just throw a few things out. I was glad to see we referenced Le Boat, fits nicely with the canal focus. We also have Pedal and Paddle, which I think would be a really nice addition there. I also don't see any reference to our museums, which I think is a pretty big opportunity. Certainly when we've heard from the Railway Museum in particular, they're drawing in thousands of visitors a year. And I think what's really important to know is we need to work hard to build solid relationships with our partners, and I'm hearing that from you, and I appreciate that. And I think plans like this will work best when we all work together. The other just housekeeping thing is I think our event list in this document is missing some things, and I think if you just check with your partners and just update it, there's a wonderful Christmas event at the Railway Museum as an example, the North Pole Express, which brings in so many people. We've got a growing arts festival. There's many other things. So just a little bit of housekeeping on those pieces.
And through the the mayor to Councillor Miller. Yes, absolutely. I think when this was initially put together, it was a bit prior to the lineup of the full events for the year. But our event calendar that I shared during my update at the last council meeting has all of those events you're mentioning. And we actually had a really good session today with staff from community services and our business service partners to go through the event lineup. And just for my application, really, who's on first, who's on second, how can we support, what kind of people are coming in, how do we get metrics on that event, how do we ensure that it aligns with this, and how do we make sure that we help to grow the strongest, actual programming and events for future. So we had a really good session today with a number of different departmental staff.
Thank you.
So.
Thanks. Councillor Quinn?
Thank you. Thank you very much for the presentation. There's a lot of work to be done here. I think it's been dragging for the last little bit, so that's great. Feet on the ground and away we go running. What we have, like I was at the Railway Museum today, and actually Mayor Pankow came and we got a picture of the new paved parking lot, which makes it much easier for people that have accessibility issues. So we've been doing many things over there to make the museum more accessible. But take a look at what we do. We do bring in thousands of people. They had a Mother's Day high tea, and that comes in at $130 for 2 people. Sold out in 36 minutes.
Heard.
That is
really something.
Those are the kind of things we need to get out there to the world. It's there. It's established, and we're drawing more and more. And Father's Day, we're having another Father's Day tea. Many activities happening on Father's Day. Plus our strongman, our Canadian strongman, Tim Norton from Smith Falls, Norris rather, from Smith Falls, is going to be there to pull a caboose to help us raise money for a new roof. So there's many, many things like that that happen. Then I'm going to switch and I'm going to go to the Downtown Business Association, and this group in the last couple of years have been phenomenal at getting downtown busy again, getting people realizing what we do have to offer. Their bike night just blew everybody right out of the water with the attendance, and it's only going to be better this year. So take those kind of things and build on them. Same as Chamber of Commerce, and they do their Rib Fest. That's another reason to draw people into town. And we've got this new bridge of ours now. Now we need to get working on the park that we have down there, so people will say, wow, what a place to stop. See the bridge, see what we have to offer. There's so much going on there. So take what's already here and really build on it, and then other things can come together.
To your point, that's exactly what I think the consultants noted, is that we have all the ingredients, we have all the raw ingredients. What we're missing is linking those dots more effectively, because we talk about activating the canal. The new bridge does that, but we also have that natural link between the Heritage Railway experience and all the amazing unique events they have, and that sense of place they create, how that relates to the fact that we're now using those old rail lines for recreation to connect us to other communities and make us a hub for that kind of stuff. So we really are at the center of the transportation networks that are based on our heritage and history, but that allow us to really promote recreation on the water, on the trails, as well as all the unique individual events that you can experience at the museums and the different places of interest around town. So thank you for noting that. There are some really exceptional events happening here, and it's progressed a lot in 7 years.
Yep. I got Mayor Pankow and then Councilor McGuire.
Thanks, Ingrid. And I think one thing that's really refreshing is it's sometimes admitting where your shortfalls are, and that's what the audit came up with. And recognizing we've been doing a reasonable job, but there's a lot of gaps, as I think you've talked about today. And you have to understand where your shortfalls are before you start a plan where you can start to improve upon. But overall, we have such tremendous assets, from natural assets to built assets. And as Councillor Quinn said, the Railway Museum, Heritage House, everything we have seems to be very dynamic. It's never staying the same. And every time someone comes back, there's something new to see. And I think we've done a good job of trying to create great public spaces, from redevelopment of Beckwith to the town square to the bridge and improvements in the parks. And so it gives that opportunity for people who come here once to want to come back a second time. And I have numerous examples of people who come here as a visitor and eventually come back here to live here, and many own businesses. And so I think that premise of if you build it, they will come, I think is very valid here. And one thing we have not done a good job of is that data collection. And I think now we have an opportunity going forward to do that, to keep score, to understand where visitors are coming from, how we're attracted, and how we're being effective, and how we can have that, I guess, that methodology or that mindset of ongoing continual improvement. So no, I think it's a great piece of work. It'll guide us for the next few years, and look forward to seeing the results.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor McGuire?
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate the report coming to council tonight. I really like how we're taking a strategic view of this stuff, and I really like the focus on measurement going forward. I think in the details, there's some things in it that I think it still needs a bit of a good read. Like Councillor Miller, I was surprised that museums only come up in the context of cultural day trippers, which is a 45 to 65 age group, where I thought families would have been a key target for that. And without, and overall, I don't know if families are a demographic that we feel we've really met and we've reached our potential with, or if it's been overlooked, because other than canal and boating visitors and sports and event visitors, which they fit into, but when I think of the events that the Railway Museum draws in, especially over Christmas time or in the summertime where you've got families doing a day trip, I don't see that audience addressed in the report so far. I think the best observation the report makes, in my opinion, is the separation of civic messaging and tourism messaging. But where it falls flat is the recommendations around it, where we've got on Facebook, we've got a Town of Smith Falls page and an Experience Smith Falls page. When it comes to the website, we've got the Town of Smith Falls website, which 98% of our traffic's not trying to get to tourism stuff. But we also have an Experience Smith Falls website that I believe is being operated by the Chamber that we're not working with, and we don't have any information on that. That seems to be overlooked in the study. When we look at pillar, pillar 2 of the website, visitor experience and website, I'd really like to see us develop that Experience Smith Falls, social media. Instagram's another one. We've got an Experience Smith Falls page, but we don't have a Town of Smith Falls page, so we've got the double posting. And then when we go into the metrics, the metrics are only going to work if we've got an objective of what we're measuring. Yeah. So to say we want to go from 2% to 4% to 6% of website visits going to the tourism page, well, we don't know what that total number of website visits are, and I'd much rather have a dedicated tourism website and then see that grow by whatever percent is reasonable a year. So with that, there's just some details in here, like it talks about the powwow in August, which, we got that in June. So I think with a good read through, it could be a lot stronger, but I'd really like to see the recommendations on the website and the social media communication stuff dialed in more.
Thank you for that.
Through your worship, can I have Jeff address some of the questions about the website stuff? Because you've been working on that and how we're planning to leverage that and unite them and capture just what you're saying, the baseline data.
Sure. In terms of the website, it is the consultants identified the issue that Councillor McGuire has raised with the kind of brand confusion. Like our brand is Experience Smith Falls, but the experiencesmithfalls.ca is actually hosted by the Chamber. And we are talking about that in terms of the microsites. So once we are prepared to get to a place where we can come to this table and say, we're ready to launch our own website, we are going to actually remedy that issue with the URLs. So we're in talks about that, and it's going really well. So they did point that out. We are working on that, and we will bring that forward at a later date. Also, I forget, there was one other point. Was it?
Yeah, mistakes like powwow in August, or
Sure.
Some of the other issues you mentioned, Councillor McGuire, about young families. Absolutely. I think when we talk further, and this has partly come about since I've returned, and we've been talking more with our community services partners, capturing that data. Who's coming to hockey games? How can we convince them to become a taxpaying resident? And so that absolutely is part of the priority, is to target those young families who are here and, might make a great future part of our community. So.
So we can definitely onboard what you were saying. I mean, it's each of those lists weren't meant to be exhaustive; they're just examples. But I do think that I do take what was said to be important. Like we can feature them more. The Railway Museum, Heritage House. They could be more featured in the reports.
Well, we need the data to tell us that's who's here, and we don't have that. So when I was visiting the Heritage or the museum the other day, it's like, what data do you have? Can you share it with us? Then we can build out that targeted audience that we're missing in some of our other documentation, because they're not always the typical target for certain marketing. So they're able to share with us Eventbrite data, for instance, and some of the Airbnb booking data they have, and that's exactly that cohort. And we need to identify that through the data that we have there. Data that we can access through the community services facilities and entities.
I didn't get too far into the weeds on the dashboard element, but the goal of that is to pull all of these strands of data into one place. So all of our social media data, our newsletter data, the website data, our survey data from being on the ground at events, what we're hearing from our museums, what we can pull from our hotels, bring all of that data into one place so that we can look at it as a whole and then sort of judge how we're doing accordingly.
I think a good reflection of where we're trying to transition to is if you look at the destination plan that you saw, and you look at the slideshow where we do focus on this city department and this, museum and this activity like communications, we're trying to identify what are we missing? Who are the partners in delivering on this? And we need to have them at the table. We need to make sure they're reflected in the final version of the destination plan. So your comments are really, really appreciated.
Thank you for that. Councillor McKenna?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks for the report. I think you're hearing, council's been waiting for a plan, and really it's great to have a 3-year plan. It's focused. So that's why you're getting this energy. We've had this pent up questions and knowing that you use the word final, I hope it's never really final, because one of my questions is, I agree with the direction. I like the focus. However, over 3 years, we just need to keep it fresh. New opportunities will come up, so it'll never be a final. But I'm really hoping that with this as a strategy, that we might say no to some tourism initiatives that don't align and they don't require. So can we build that? It's okay to say no, because it's really not what we have in mind. I'm not saying that, because we only have so much money and time and energy, so let's stick to the plan.
And to your question, I would add two ways that I would interpret that. One is, yes, we hope the metrics will help us decide which events and programming and activities provide a better return on our investment. And second of all, when do we reach capacity? And this was a problem in BC where I came from, where we were over touristed. We had so much money to spend on marketing that we didn't have enough sanitary facilities. We didn't have enough places for people to stay. It became a problem, and then there were negative reviews out there. So talking with community services, we have to really make sure that our capacity matches our plan. We have to make sure that we plan together and we develop programming and activities that reflect the plan, that we can market and that we can actually deliver on. So it has to be sustainable. So those two, that's a really important part. We have to keep an eye on that.
Thank you, if I may. The other is we want to have a Smiths Falls plan. I can see we were compared to some of our neighborhood strategies are a little different. So it is a competition, but at the same time, we benefit, because after they've been in Merrickville, they'll come to Smiths Falls and then on. So I want that regional. If we get them in Eastern Ontario, particularly this part, I don't want it to be, I'm hoping that we don't go over there, we're in this together. If we get people coming from Northern New York State up into our region, staying for a week and seeing everything, that's what's best. So I don't want us to not put our blinders on and just say it's only Smiths Falls. So I hope that you can accommodate that into the plan.
Absolutely. I think working with Lanark County Tourism and Leeds and Grenville Tourism, and especially along the Rideau Corridor, will allow us to figure out where our niche opportunities are. but not to exclude the others, because it's really a full package and it's marketed by our partners like OTO, for instance, and the name of the tourism district south of us. They market that with a regional focus, and so we want to be at the table and making sure that we're noted for what we can offer that's unique. But as a package, the whole package is they're the ones with the funds and the reach to make sure that they're drawing people to the region.
And my final comment is it's around. There was a peculiar statement in the document that talked about, I guess it was increasing cooperation between economic development and tourism. And I thought, is cooperation the right word? It's one department.
It's one department.
Is it integration? Is it, because I get the correlation between the two, but I hope it isn't. I expect cooperation.
No, absolutely.
It's one department.
Yeah, I agree. And tourism, as housed within the Economic Development Department, has a certain function that relates to marketing and sectoral focused activities that support the business sector that is responding to the needs of visitors from certain demographics. Whereas our partners that deliver tourism are either hosting events or they're hosting really amazing programs and facilities and amenities. And so tourism is really interdepartmental and with our business service partners. And our role in supporting tourism is to see it through the lens of visitation and economic development. So how do we get people to come back with all of those different offerings? How do we get them to convert to a long-term taxpayer, what have you, or a return visitor at the very least? And so from my perspective, I like the idea of using visitation and how we work with our tourism delivery partners, but we're focused on the economic benefits of visitation and the ways that we can support across all sectors.
I think you'll find, I know you know this is very important. Is there a way to do it in less than 3 years? Do we need 3 years to roll this out?
No, I mean, there's an ongoing, some of it's being able to track the data. So one summer season, what have we learned? How do we tweak it and make it better? Next summer, let's try, focusing our efforts next year on where we market, the events that give us the biggest return on investment, the data we've captured from different amenities. And it's growing that and following through people who come back again and again and again. But absolutely, we're not going to miss an opportunity to try and make that switch and drive it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Green had one more, you said?
Yes, I do. I love the idea. I love what you're talking about. But you know what? You got some low-hanging fruit right here now to work with. Like, you have to stop and think, how many people come into Smith Falls for a bike night? Lots of those people stay overnight or they come back another night, so they're visiting again. So there's low-hanging fruit that you can grab a hold of and start to make them feel more welcome, come back here and stay again. And the other one is, I'm going back to the Railway Museum, staying overnight in a caboose. We've already had people there this year, like I was telling Mayor Peg, from Colombia. There was a couple there from Singapore. I mean, this is low-hanging fruit that's there. Let's work with that and really promote it. And the downtown has changed so much in their looks. It's a beautiful spot. So we need people to say, wow, we can stay overnight here. Now we do have another problem. We need a new hotel to stay in, but that's something else we'll have to do.
That's on our radar too. That's the economic development side of tourism, for sure. I'm missing piece.
Okay, thank you for that. I agree with everything that's been said, and you can tell the interest that is around the table here on this destination plan. I will say that you breathed some new life in it, and I think it's indicative of the changing of the demographics of Smith Falls. And I really like the idea that we're going to market as a young, vibrant community, because I see that on the streets. And so congratulations, and we look forward to your next report. Good job. Excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Item 4, 2026 final tax rates. Treasurer Dauber.
Thank you through the chair. So this is a yearly report that comes to council in order to pass a bylaw for the various tax rates in order to collect the tax levy that was budgeted as a part of the 2026. Schedule A would be the tax levy, which raises just a little bit under $22.4 million in tax levy. That includes $310,000 in growth. So that was properties, growth-related projects that came online, and we received supplemental bills in 2025. And now we see them become part of the tax roll in 2026, just for the public's information. Schedule B is the amount that the DBIA had set for their downtown levy, which amounts to $131,567. So both rates are being set. This allows us in the finance department to finalize our tax rates with Opta, which is a branch of the Ministry of Finance. They're basically the statistics arm for specifically for municipal taxes in the Ministry of Finance. I'd be happy to take
Thank
any
you.
questions.
Any questions, comments? We have no choice in this matter. I certainly support it. I think I'll get thumbs up around the table, and that'll come up June 1st.
June 1st.
Thanks, Treasurer.
Thank you.
Excuse me. CPI approvals. And Marie Elmsley's coming up the bat.
Good evening, everyone. CIP 2026 spring intake brought in 8 complete applications, representing $106,849 in funding requests. A 9th application was received under programs 3 and 4, but it's not dependent on a specific deadline. Some project details are still being finalized there, so that application will be brought forward at a future date. The 2026 CIP budget combined with uncommitted carryover funds is just over $202,000, and that includes a cancellation of one of last year's projects. If this year's funding requests are approved, it'll leave a balance of just over $95,000 for a fall intake. The CIP Evaluation Committee this year included the Manager of Development Services, Chair of Municipal Heritage Committee, the Downtown Business Association Coordinator, and the Director of Community Services. This new structure worked well in that each application was evaluated through different lenses. Council approved changes to the CIP program that included increased funding for heritage properties designated Part 4 and Part 5 under the Ontario Heritage Act. Part 5 is where a heritage conservation district has been established in a certain area, and properties within the boundaries are listed as either contributing to the cultural heritage value of the area or non-contributing. Although RHCD is not in effect as an appeal is currently being adjudicated, for the purposes of CIP, contributing properties were deemed eligible for the 85% funding under Program 12. Before getting started on the individual project reviews, I would like to thank the Evaluation Committee, town staff across all departments, and the Accessibility Advisory Committee, all who review applications and provide information on eligibility criteria and implementation requirements. So, pardon me. The first project to review is 14 Main Street West. This is a contributing property within the HCD. The applicant proposes to remove the layers of vinyl siding, wood, and stucco and restore the original brick facade, which closely resembles the Washburn block buildings across the street. Where original material cannot be salvaged, replica material will be as closely matched as possible. There are 4 commercial windows where the applicant is proposing to replace the glass. 2 of those windows are cracked, and 2, the thermal seal has failed, so they fog up. Although this is not a full window replacement, the contractor indicated that the type of glass proposed is energy efficient. So the committee agreed that it should qualify for the energy efficient window grant of up to $5,000. The total project cost is $47,355 and funding request is $37,249. So moving on to Russell Street West. It's part of the Subway restaurant at the front and the vacant commercial space at the back. It's a non-contributing property in the HCD. The original facade material on this property was wood. The applicant originally proposed to make improvements to the Beckwith Street facing facade using board and batten style wood composite siding. The committee requested that the applicant supply a quote for the entire facade, which includes the Russell Street side. The applicant did provide the information, noting that their budget would only allow for them to make improvements to one side or the other this year. The committee is recommending funding on the Russell Street facade side, which includes the removal of, there's an old signage up there, covering existing wires that are still in use, removal of old soffit and fascia boards and installing new, installing custom aluminum trim around the windows and doors after removing the shutters, installing board and batten style wood composite siding, and constructing a new pressure treated timber enclosure for the garbage cans. Total project cost is $49,500 and recommended funding is $20,000. 7 Main Street East. This is a contributing property in the HCD. The applicant proposes to remove the existing sign and pole and wires and install a new ground sign on the lawn and a flower bed using wood and new double-sided aluminum composite signage that prominently displays their new logo. The applicant is also proposing to replace outdated smoke detectors under Program 13 that focuses on interior building code upgrades. These old style detectors are grandfathered under the Ontario Building Code, so replacing them is not a requirement, but the committee agreed for the purposes of the CIP is to support projects like these for the older buildings to make sure that they're as safe and usable as possible. They felt that updating the outdated equipment meets this eligibility. The committee agreed that the updated system would provide additional safety considerations for the property that offers a public venue that is well utilized in our downtown. Total project cost is $15,601 and recommended funding is $8,392. 12 Beckwith Street North, the new shoe store. This is a contributing property in the HCD where the original building was comprised of wood. The applicant originally proposed to use a limestone veneer. Committee noted it's not in the HCD and requested they explore wood composite board and batten style. The applicant did obtain the quote, but noted that even with the 85% funding, it was beyond limit this year. Under Program 12, they have decided they're going to do some painting to refresh that, but it's not a part of the application. The facade improvements include new signage, a new awning, gooseneck lighting, energy efficient windows on the upper story, and planter boxes as long as they don't encroach on town property. Under Program 13, the applicant is looking to replace fuses with electrical panels, again noting that the committee feels this is an eligible expense, even though they're grandfathered under the current OBC, Ontario Building Code. Total project cost is $22,391 and recommended funding is $15,409. 11 Church Street West is a contributing property in the HCD. Under Program 13, they're proposing to replace smoke detectors, noting that some of them are very high up in the ceiling, so they need scaffolding to get up to them. As with other requests made under Program 13 this year, the committee debated if it's an eligible project. And they agreed that for the purposes of Program 13 is to support projects like this one where the older building is being used for community at large and by not-for-profit organizations to make sure that they're safe and usable. They felt that updating it meets eligibility. Total cost is $11,850 and recommended funding is $5,925. 10 to 12 Maple Street, formerly Artisan Village, is now under new ownership. This property received funding in 2023 and 2024, but since there are funds left available after all new applications have been submitted, funding can be considered on this property. The owners are proposing new signage at the front entrance and new directory signage on the corner property. The committee is recommending funding for the entrance signage only, as they didn't feel the directory signage enhanced the property as required in the downtown core design guidelines. Project cost is $1,246. Recommended funding is $623. 57 Chambers Street is the first application received under our new Program 15, which is designated residential heritage properties. As required under the Ontario Heritage Act, the owner applied for and received permission last year from council to replace the columns on all 3 porches as well as the decking on the side and rear porches. Work on the front porch was completed last year. The owners now applied for funding for the columns and decking on the side porch and lower porch at the rear, as well as new spindles and railings. The owner will have to submit a new heritage alteration permit application for the spindles and railings for council to approve separately. The CIP Working Committee is recommending funding on the columns, railings, and spindles as it will stabilize and conserve the heritage attributes. Project cost is $22,631 and recommended funding is the maximum allowable of $10,000. The final project is 88 Cornelia Street. The applicant is relocating the business because they've outgrown their current facilities at the old high school. They're expanding their overnight respite program, day program, and now offering support services in their new location. The proposal included requests for funding for works that aren't listed as eligible in the CIP, such as soundproofing and slip grip flooring throughout all the new space. It was suggested that council consider funding for these works, and although staff agree that council should consider it, looking at accessibility more broadly at a future date. Changing criteria now would mean that we perhaps have missed receiving other projects that may have benefited from the change. Staff recommend funding the parts of the renovation that are listed as eligible currently, which is making washrooms accessible, widening interior pathways and common areas and corridors that include relocating doors and hardware. So total eligible project costs are $18,500 and recommended funding is $9,250. So I've given you a quick overview on the projects in addition to the report, and I'm happy to take any questions you might
You
have.
take a breath for a minute.
Yeah.
So what I was hoping maybe we could do is I'll just go from one to the end and then be done with it after that. So the first one was 14 Main Street, $37,249. Any questions, concerned about that particular project, Councillor McKenna?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. One is, it's so great to see the CIPs working. Like, these are the kind of things that really make our downtown look fantastic. Remind me, what role does promoting accessibility into the building like this? I noticed the stairs going in.
Mm-hmm.
When we're doing this, what kind of conversations do we have about opening that entrance up so that it can be more accessible?
Well, the changes that council made, sorry, through you, the changes that you made earlier this year would help to work towards that if it's feasible in the particular property. So a chair or like a lift at the front entrance, if that's feasible. I'm not sure it would be in this particular location, or using other entrances that allow access to the main space. The owner this year is currently just looking at making changes to the facade where accessibility might be something future down the road.
Would you bring it up with them as
We always discuss all the
Okay.
programs.
Yeah, I love the changes. Thank you.
Anything else on 14 Main? Yeah.
Yeah, just a great example of what is hidden from public view for so long. And it's going to be a real gem when it's done.
Yeah.
I mean, more buildings are in similar situations, so great to see.
1 Russell Street. Councillor McGuire?
Thank you. So this one, sorry, I'm just scrolling through here. Yeah, great improvement. I think solid materials are being proposed. I've got a question on the new garbage storage. Right now is listed as being pressure treated, but in the rendering it looks like it's the same siding as everything else. So I just want to make sure that it's got the same surface treatment as everything else, so we don't have a pressure treated box beside the brand new wall.
Through you, Chair.
Yes.
So the quote indicates that it's pressure treated timber. It doesn't talk about having the siding go over that, but that can certainly be made as a condition of the agreement.
I think council should make that consistent as agreement. My other concern about this one is just at a matter of principle, we're taking wood, we're replacing it with aluminum. We don't usually do that, but considering it's up high and there's not a lot of detail to it in this situation, it's probably acceptable. But the windows bring me a lot of concern because right now we've got white windows in there. They're proposing black trim on it, and then we've got the beige siding. So now we've got 3 different things at play. And I'm wondering what the plan, have they replaced, because some of the windows in the picture here look pretty rotten. Are those windows getting replaced at a future application, or have they been replaced already?
Some of the upper story windows have been replaced. As far as going future applications, I'm sure we'll probably see something further down the road for windows. Again, it happens in the staging process, some of these improvements. We don't get into the color of treatments generally too often, but it can be made part of a condition so that there's some cohesiveness to the appearance.
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of on the fence because the black looks really sharp, but it's going to look awful with white windows. So if there's an opportunity to get the windows black consistent with everything else, then that's great. But if not, then they'd probably be better off to use white for the trim because it's not going to work as well when you've got a black box with white windows in it.
Okay. I like the windows black, but it's sort of subjective type of thing. So I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the condition on the garbage box, although not to get into the weeds too much, but if it's pressure treated, it could be stained the same color, I would assume. So anyway, I'm happy with that application anyway. So anybody else? Councillor Miller?
Thank you. And I understand your point, Councillor Maguire. I think it would look great with new windows and all black. I wouldn't want to encourage them to do white trim because that would not look near as nice as the black. I would rather just encourage them to come back with a second application next year. This is expensive stuff, right? So I'm just thrilled they're investing in this property, and I can appreciate if they do it in stages. And I fully support your idea of siding the garbage box as well. I think that would be cohesive. So.
Okay. Everyone else okay? Yeah, Councilor McGuire? Or you're saying okay?
My preference would be hold off on the window trim until the windows are done and do it all as one shot. But because I don't see how that black and white is going to work. And we're not getting what's provided on the renderings, so it's not going to have that same effect as what we're getting from our report right now.
Comments, questions? I'm fine with the black for one, but Councillor Quinn?
Yes, I'm fine with the black. And like Councillor Miller said, this is a big, expensive project. And that building has not had anything done to it for years. So steps are wonderful. And then it will turn around and look like a nice building, a building that people want to use.
Everybody else agree with that? Or Councillor Mayor Paxton?
No, I mean, I agree. The black trim and the white windows wouldn't be ideal, but I guess the communication, we would like to see those windows upgrade to black as soon as possible. They would certainly improve the look. But at the same time, if they're redoing the siding, they get to put some trim there. So no sense putting white, I guess. So black for now, and hopefully black windows match in the near future.
Okay. Okay. 7 Main Street. Our cherished Legion.
Good.
Good. 12 Beckwith North. The shoe store. Yes, Councillor McGuire.
Yeah, so this one, some really exciting changes here too. One is the energy efficient windows are to replace the windows on the upper floor. And right now, based on the pictures and based on what they look like, they're leaded glass windows. And as a contributing property, that is part of one of the contributing factors. So I think that everything in here can be approved, but the windows should be taken out and approved. We either need more information on what type of windows there, because maybe it's a pseudo one that just looks like it and we don't have enough information. But if it is a leaded glass window, then the policy of the HCD and the CIP would be to restore it than replace it. So.
Comments?
Did the committee examine?
I don't have the information on whether or not those are real leaded glass windows. The owner has indicated that they're not original windows, but outside of that, no. I'd have to get that information.
Councillor McKenna?
Again, I'm excited about the new ownership and what they're trying to do, so if we could do that quickly.
Yes.
Or not quickly, if it could come back before the June 1st, because it just cleared that question up.
Through you, Chair.
Yeah.
Yes, I can certainly do that.
Councillor McGuire?
And just to help them move forward with everything else, I think we still should approve all the other aspects of it. Just hold off on that last piece. And it's in the commercial or in the residential unit above. So
Well, we'll be doing that on the 1st, so hopefully we can, with any
yeah,
luck, we can
ideally
do it all
get
at once,
in.
right? Anyway, okay. We're good on this shoe store. 11 Church Street. The church. Councillor McGuire?
I think this, the Legion too, but also the church, to have the fire protection stuff covered under the CIP, I think is amazing because fire is the thing that destroys our downtown. So the more buildings we can get the wiring up to date, the plumbing up to date, and the fire protection systems up to date, the better. And I think it's a really good investment of funds.
Agreed. Thumbs up.
Oh, yeah.
1012 Maple Street. $600. Councillor McGuire?
I was wondering what policy excludes the directory sign.
Through you, Chair, the Downtown Core Design Guidelines talks about balance and symmetry, and the Evaluation Committee felt pretty strongly that it just didn't enhance that on that corner for this property.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Miller.
Not to jump in, but I think we're on the same page as this one because I actually think that corner sign is critical. If you look at the visibility of that property, you're not going to fully see the sign over the door. So that signage on the corner may attract people from Beckwith Street. So respectfully, I would like to fund that piece as well. And I'm not sure. I think Councillor McGuire was going that way before I so rudely interrupted. Just nod.
So the question is, what was the cost for the corner sign?
I have that information. It was $15,000. So funding on would be at 50%.
For a sign?
For the fabrication of the frame, the individual changeable inserts, includes design, fabrication, graphics, footings, and installation.
Seems like a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. I mean, the other piece is $600, right? For
the cost of that sign for the lettering, sorry, through you, Chair, is for the lettering across the entrance.
Right.
That represents 50% of the total cost, which is
12. Boy, Councillor McGuire?
Maybe we could get more information on the sign to get an understanding of where that cost comes from. But I don't think, like Davidson's Courtyard has a similar sign, and I can't imagine it was in that ballpark. One thing I wonder if we could ask of this applicant is that right now the address is in stickers on the window below where the new sign's going to be, and you can see it on the left side of the report.
Right.
So I'm wondering if we could increase the funding to whatever amount it would take to put the 10 Maple Avenue up onto underneath the Maple Commons in this similar lettering but smaller, and then that would it would clean up the window at the same time.
Fine with that? Yep. So a little more information on that. Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying yes.
I did, but I had another question. It's just on the request about the outdoor sign on the corner. The policy says that it's not eligible. So precedent is important, and we're going to have more requests. So I'm really reluctant to go outside of policy for this, and given the cost, so I'm not supporting it at this time.
Thank you for that, Councillor McGuire.
If we could get more information on the policy and how it was interpreted for that one, in addition to the cost, I'd be willing to look at it more. Because I agree with Councillor McKenna, but also I don't quite understand it the same way right now.
Okay, so more information on that one.
But
Yes,
we're
go ahead.
approving the request, and we're just gonna ask about the sign.
Yeah. It's fair, right? Everybody?
Yes.
Okay. 57 Chambers. Questions, comments? Thumbs up, thumbs up.
Great.
Good. Good. So the program 2 application was for 88 Cornelia Street. And any questions, comments on that particular application?
Yeah, just, I think it's a good use of accessibility. It's going to benefit a lot of people in our community. It is a charity, so I think I'm just glad to be able to support this type of initiative.
Councilor McGuire?
Yeah, I think it's a great application. Staff comment in the report that they support expanding the criteria for accessibility. And I just think we need to be really cautious with that, because for this not-for-profit charity, it's a great fit, but how could that be used, you know, if it's applied everywhere across town? I don't know if it needs the expansion. So I think that needs more debate or more discussion, but right now the application in front of us looks really good. So happy to support it.
Okay. Good. So do you have your direction that you need?
I do.
Okay.
We'll see
Good
you
job.
for next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for priority items. I don't think we have any committee, board, and external organizations updates. We have no in-camera, no information listing correspondence, no notice of motion. And I'll entertain a motion that this committee adjourn its proceedings at 6:29 and stand so adjourned until the next duly called committee meeting. Moved by Councillor Robinson, second by Councillor McGuire. All in favor? Go Habs.